Hello, folks, and good morning. So I've got a very happy announcement here today that for those of y'all that like playing Tactics Ogre PSP or One Vision on your phones and whatnot, namely anyone that will be running an emulator, so whether this is a phone, whether you're doing this on your PC, or maybe you're running an RP3 Plus or something like that, either darn ways, we've got an upgrade for y'all. So this is going to be the PSP HD UI pack. This was a project originally started by, let me go double check his name here real quick, Sir Bags-a-Lot, and then a whole bunch of features got added by Rakes from the One Vision mod here. So let's go ahead and take a quick peek at what we're looking at. So this is going to be a, this is going to be a mod slash, well, a texture pack, really, that will change your entire experience for the PSP version. It's going to be replacing the portraits, most of the UI elements, as well as having customizable options if you'd, for example, prefer to have something along the lines of the One Vision portraits and whatnot. Like, let's say you wanted to have Donaldo looking like he came from the Matrix, or you wanted to have Black Hat Deneb or anything along them lines. They are there and available. So, this is going to take a little bit of a second to load because I don't quite have my settings quite there as of yet. But yeah, we got the nice, pretty title screen coming in, looking very darn pretty. I should mention, by the way, we've got colorized health bars. That's probably one of my favorite features of this whole thing. But you've got updated UI elements all throughout. Some of it is going to be stuff that was imported from Tactics Ogre Reborn. Some of it is also going to be stuff that the Rakes actually drew himself. So if you take a look at all of this stuff, all of the icons here are updated. If we go and look through the shop here, we'll see that all of these icons have been updated as well. All of the icons are the kinds that are available on the One Vision help site there. Looking really darn pretty and snazzy here. Just makes everything look nicer across the board. All right, let's go ahead and look at the fights here to go get an idea for how good these new bars look and everything else. It does recommend, by the way, running it at a slightly higher resolution than I currently have it. Personally, just since I'm still trying to figure out the settings on my phone, it seems to run nicer at 2x rather than 4x. 4x is the recommended resolution for all this stuff to work normally. But obviously you do you. So let's go ahead and take some people out of this pile real quick. There we go. Get them out of here. And go ahead and get started here. As far as the, by the way, as far as the phone screen touch options, personally, this is just the way that I like having it set up, because then you can kind of do the touchscreen control thing with your analog stick down here, and everything else feels more or less like a PSP. I don't know, it just feels nicer. You got your touch screen, or you got your scene skip, rather, right here, your start and your X right next to each other. But yeah, all of the icons are just looking really darn pretty. When we go over to this, you see we got green health bars. If, for example, he were to go ahead and take a swing over at this one right here, you see that the health bars will go down, and they will change color as they go down, going down into red on the bottom. So really darn snazzy stuff. I really wish that I could figure out how I had my settings done before, because something about the way I redid the settings just screwed everything up to the point that it's laggy now, which it never used to do before, and that's a little bit frustrating. But yeah, so for those of y'all that like that like to play either vanilla or One Vision, this will work with both versions. Basically, if you're on PSP and the PSP emulator whatsoever, that's all you need. However, quick note that you should know: this only will work, at least so far, with version 1.13.2 or earlier. I'm not exactly sure what changed, and as I understand it, I'm not sure anybody else does either. So basically, you need that version in order for this texture pack to show up. On newer versions, it looks a bit jacked up. I'm not, again, entirely sure why. This is something that's actually been submitted to PPSSPP support a few times now, so hopefully it'll get some attention. Supposedly it's going to be fixed by version 1.6.0. So if if and when you happen to be seeing that coming out, there's a decent chance that it should hopefully be working by then. But yeah, so this is definitely something you want to give a little bit of a peek to. More than likely, it will not be running on your end. This is, again, I cannot reiterate enough, a combination of the fact that I'm trying to kind of play off of the phone right now, as well as the fact that, well, it doesn't seem to play too nicely when I'm recording off of it. well, and on top of that, the fact that I haven't actually figured out what settings made it work last time. So it's kind of the fun part of going and setting up a new emulator, you know. So if you're wondering how to downgrade it, if you, for example, go to your settings, which actually I should probably go skip over to the desktop real quick to show you some of the stuff. Essentially, here's the two things that you'll need to know. If you're looking to downgrade, like let's say you're on the newest version, you want to get this pack working. Again, hopefully once 1.6 ends up hopefully fixing the issue, we should hopefully have the better, performance as well as all of that. But either way, until then, what you need to know is you basically go to your PSP thing and replace the old system files, the 1.3.2, which you'll find in the description there, and then just replace the system files over here. Leave your save data, textures, all of that kind of thing. All right, next, in order to actually install this mod, all you need to do is you go over to your textures, you take your whichever version of Tactics Ogre you're running. So, for example, if you're running the North American version, which it seems like most are, you would just make a folder here, ULUS10565, and then you would just drop the contents of the mod in here. If you want to have alternative versions of any of those things, you go over here and you go over to the alternates. And for example, you got the One Vision recolors right over here. If you want to, for example, have the old SNES sprites or stuff, then you got those over here. Those don't seem to be quite done yet, but give it some time, I'm sure. Or if you want some of the other variants, then we have those over here. Like if you want kind of fancier looking air cell over here, you got that one here. So this is like the art book versions and stuff like that. So whichever ones you prefer, you got them all in here. You got a few different things that are available in terms of, for example, the UI elements. If you, for example, want to have your health bars looking different, so like right now, by default, the health bars are going to be the thin version, so you also have a fatter version of the health bars if you'd prefer. You then also have the original default health bars, and then if you want, for example, a different changing room style, you have that available over here as well if you want it to be red instead of blue. If you want, like let's say, any of your alternative icons, like let's say you wanted your law, neutral, and chaos to have their respective colors, then you would just take that file. You would look for the file under the same name. So like let's say we look over here and we take a look around, and let's see, we want law, neutral, chaos. So I already replaced them on my side, but we would match that name. We would just rename it. So like right here it says colored law, neutral, chaos. You would go to it, you would select the name, you would rename it, get rid of the colored part, and then you would just put it over here. Okay. So it's just a very simple way of doing all of that stuff, depending on how you want to redo your tarot cards. Right now it's using the reborn versions, which have that nice green trim and glow to them. If you want to have the originals, that's here. If you want to have different status effects, that's in here. It just all looks really darn pretty, so there's that. Let's see what else we got in here. We got different text versions, if you'd prefer to have different text for stuff. Again, just, whether you want it to be more bold, whether you want to have the old versions, it's entirely up to you. So yeah, it's a very plug and play kind of thing. It's pretty easy to set up. The only thing you need to do otherwise is reread the instructions there. You need to have your texture filtering, and one of the other settings that I am currently blanking on, very embarrassingly. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so what you would need is you would go down here, which, by the way, I've recently been told that apparently all of these settings supposedly might actually cause more slowdown than they supposedly fix for Tactics Ogre. This game's always been a little bit weird as far as emulation goes. It's been that way across all versions, so if something does the total opposite of what it says it does, don't be too surprised. Anyway, so we go down here. So the texture filtering has to be linear, screen scaling filter has to be nearest, and it does recommend for the rendering resolution to be 4 times rather than anything else. Personally, like I usually prefer either 2 or just to have it normally. That's entirely up to you. Whichever you'd prefer there. I'm personally always going to prefer performance over visuals anyway. I just really like the new icons for the debuffs. I do love me some snazzy looking debuffs, and really enjoy the the colored health bars and stuff like that, as well as the better portraits. It definitely gives it more of that reborn feel. Now, if only we could get the element system over, I'd be set. But hey, it is what it is. But anyway, as you can tell, everything just looks really darn pretty with this rework. I'm sure down the road we'll end up seeing upgraded sprites and stuff here for the weapons as well. Give it time. Stuff's going and going and going and going. You know. All things in time, all things in time. So obviously tweak settings for your own devices, whatever they may happen to be. And if you're playing the PSP version, by the way, if you wanted some of those reborn features like renaming your people or whatever else, again, go to the One Vision resource. I'll include a link to that as well. That'll give you a lot of those features. You got to do it by codes, but you can still get it done. So anyway, go ahead and give it a bit of a look. This is a really fun upgrade for the PSP version. Y'all have yourselves a good one, and thank you so much for stopping by. And obviously, as always, go ahead and drop a big thanks over to Rakes in particular, but also to Sir Bags a lot for these mods existing. And yeah, have yourselves a good one. Take care.